Do the maintenance and an oil change on the generator. We've had the generator since about November, and it's time to change the oil. You change it roughly once a year, so I like to change it in August or September, so this way the cycle is every year in August and September you change the oil. You don't want to change it in November or December when it's really cold outside. So I usually change it in August. Also, we get most of the storms in September, October. So by changing in August, you ensure that you're getting fresh oil before any storms. So a couple of tools you need. First thing is you need a oil filter. Now this oil filter, I think it's longer than the one that's on the generator. From what I saw, it seemed compatible, but it's longer, which is good because that'll ensure there's less pressure. There's more space for the oil to be filtered. This is the PF 1218. See that? Okay, and you need your Harbor Freight oil filter wrench. And you need an oil container. Okay, this oil container should work pretty well. And what it does is, you can just put it like this, and you can see it. You can, this opens up, and you can run the oil hose into there, and then you can see this is indented. You can then take out the oil filter and you can drop it in here, and the oil will drain into that hole. You can then close it up, and you can either recycle the oil. Obviously you don't want to drop it down the sewer line the way some people used to do that in the past. And you could use it for actually treating wood. Like you see, we have some wood over here, and we'll see if we can treat some of this wood with the oil. If you happen to have termites, you actually may want to you mix it with a little diesel and you pour it around where the termites are. Okay, so one of the things you want to do in terms of maintenance is, you can see the engine. You want to check the belts. Actually, what you want to do is turn off the generator, which is what we've done. So this way it doesn't start up if there's a blackout. Basically, the belts are there. It should have like a 1/2 inch of deflection. This is tight, and you want to check for any obvious cracks or anything. But obviously the generator is only like about a year old, 10 months old, so I don't really expect any. You want to also look at the hoses. They should feel like good rubber. I don't know how to describe it, but if there's any cracks or obviously any leaks, you want to replace that. There's the upper one and the lower one on the other side, which I'll try to show you later. Okay, so you want to take a look around the generator, see if there's any leaks. I don't see any. That's good. No leaks at all. Someone actually asked about the heater, about the thermostat for the heater, whether it turns on in the summer, and it doesn't. It's thermostatically controlled, and if you look over here, I don't know if you can see over there, my finger is, there's a little button thermostat. I'll try to focus on that. That button thermostat over here, only allows electricity to pass to the heater when it's below. There's no documentation on it, but I've checked on it here and there, and I think around 32 degrees it turns on. You can see it's hooked up to the wire. Okay, the alternator's there, and just want to check everything, the wires, make sure everything's connected, nothing's under like some kind of pressure. Everything looks good. I'm gonna make sure nothing's rubbing against each other or against any metal. You know, just use common sense. Check the battery cables, cover it with grease. And what we're going to do is we're going to start up the generator, put it under a lot of load. I've never tested it actually under load with all the air conditioners. So I'll start it up, and we'll let it heat up, and then we'll shut it off, let the oil cool down, go to the bottom, and then we'll change the oil. And hopefully when I put it under a test, a very heavy load, hopefully everything will work well. I've never tested it to see whether there's enough gas to it. I believe there is. We'll connect a multimeter to it and see what the load is on the generator. And we'll try to turn everything on in the house and then some to try to really put a heavy load on this and see how it goes. Okay. Everything else otherwise looks good. I also did want to show you that one of the things I did since last time is I got some more of this split wire loom, as it's called, and everywhere there's a possibility it may rub against something, I wrapped it around. Like you see the battery cables here, they come off the battery, so it was wrapping here, it was rubbing against. This is a pretty sharp piece of metal, especially the corner, so I put some wire loom around that to keep it from anything from rubbing. And I'll show you the other side where I've done some more of that. So what you can also see is over here I covered up everything with the split wire loom from the factory. Not all of them come covered. I guess if they don't feel it's going to rub against anything, but I felt over here this one might actually rub, so I covered that up. Everything that I worked on over here, actually I think that's factory. Here, that part for the texting system, I just covered it up, made it nice. The battery is the block heater fuse block. And the generator is ready. So what we're going to do next is we've checked out the hoses. You can see everything looks fine. There's no leaks at all. Radiator fluid is full. And what we're going to do next is turn the power out and put this under as heavy a load as we can. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the generator and then try to put on as much of a load as possible. What we'll do is we'll try to turn on the lights. We'll turn on 2 dishwashers and an electric hot water heater. It makes hot water for coffee and such. And we'll see what else. Some lights. We have a 5-ton air conditioning unit and a 3.5-ton unit. And anything else we can find. Maybe a toaster. But basically this won't let the 5-ton unit go on for about 5 minutes until after the generator is warmed up. So I'll let it run a little bit, we'll check it out, and then we'll come back, and when it's heated up we'll change the oil. So first we'll shut off the power. And it's good to do this once a year. You want to put it through its a full test of the exercise, including the transfer switch. So let's 1, 2, 3, and okay, everything's off. In about 10 seconds the generator is going to give power to the gas valves, which it just did, which turns on the time delay relay, which is counting down 180 seconds. So, yeah, 3 minutes. So what's going to happen now is it turned on after 10 seconds, and now it's warming up for another 50 seconds. And that delay is basically not going to let the relay close until after the internet turns on, the modem's cable modem router, and so that the text messaging system can then send out a text, because otherwise it would send it out prematurely. It would send it out as soon as the power came on, so it delays it. So we're waiting about 50 seconds, and the lights will go on, and you'll see that. Transferred it over now. Okay, so the power's on in the house, and the relay is still counting down. It'll count down. When it hits 0, it'll close, and at that point, the text messaging system will send out a text to everyone. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's go outside, and we'll take a look. This way, we're letting the oil heat up before we do the oil change. Okay, so we have now, I turned on 2 dishwashers, the double toaster, the lights, the hot water tank, which is electric and heats up the hot water for drinking, and also pretty much anything electric I could think of. I turned on the warming drawer. So I'm trying to measure the amperage. That's what the multimeter is measuring. I'll have to figure out later if it makes sense. It says like 274 amps. I don't know if that makes sense. I'd have to check that out. But also now the transfer switch has allowed the 5-ton air conditioner and the 3.5-ton unit to turn on. So we'll go take a look at that and see how it's running. We'll let it heat up and run, and then we'll shut it off and change the oil. Let's just check out. It's under load. You can hear it's pretty loud. Yeah. 5-ton unit, 3.5-ton unit. It's hot. Okay, so the generator is running on pretty full load, and the nice thing is it's running beautifully. You can see the gas meter. You can see the exhaust was like red hot. So I think it's heated up enough for us to change the oil, and it certainly seems to be running nicely under load. So that's really what we care about. So what we'll do is we'll switch back over to regular power, and then that'll shut off, and we'll let it cool off and change the oil. Okay, now we're on utility power. So it will take a few minutes, it'll cool off, and then it'll shut off. Okay, the power just transferred back over to utility power. When you switch the switch, you're sending utility power to the transfer switch. The transfer switch then switches it over after, I guess it sounds like half a minute or so. It transfers over. It's running on utility power, the house. But the generator is going to allow it to be cooled down, so it'll keep running for up to about 5 minutes. Then it's shut off. Then we'll let it cool down, and then we'll change the oil.